And here we go on this first Monday of a brand new month, May 2025. It is 6 o'clock straight up, which means it is time for an all-new and live version of Real Talk Memphis. What's good, Memphis? Chip Washington here, your humble host. Glad to be back in the air chair after a week and after, from what I've been told, a very successful River Beat 2025. I heard the event was off the chain. They told me Missy Elliott just snatched this whole city up on Friday night, and Lola sitting over there. Yeah, she can co-sign on that, absolutely. So success and congratulations to all the folks who were associated with that musical extravaganza over the weekend. I heard everything went well. The weather was pretty good, and everybody had a nice time. That is what it is all about. Well, we are here now. Of course, for the next hour, we're going to give you a little glimpse of what is happening in and around our communities by doing a little bit of talking. And, of course, we do this each and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. On this fine radio station. You can catch us a various number of ways. You know, we're on the TuneIn app as well. We are going to be live streaming this evening on Facebook Live, so you can check out the show if that's what you choose to do on my page. A little bit later on, the next day or two, the show will be posted, and you will be able to see it later on this week on YouTube, or listen to it rather. And as we are a podcast, you will be able to get the show wherever it is you get your podcast. So there you go. Lots of ways to be informed, stay informed, and check out Real Talk Memphis. We have a good show for you tonight, a great lineup, of course. Anasa Troutman is going to be my first guest. She is the executive director of the Claiborne Temple Restoration Project. Now, many of us know that pillar of civil rights burnt down about a week or so ago. It has been declared a total loss, but hope springs eternal that there might be something that can be reclamated from this particular project. A little bit later on, so she'll talk to us about all of that. A little bit later on, we'll be speaking with Durell Cowan. Durell is the founder and executive director of Heal 901. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have been paying any attention to what is happening in and around our community and our streets, we need healing, no doubt about that. And Durell is in those streets, and he understands exactly what is happening out there, and he's going to give us his take on what he thinks we need to do as a community. I said we, not you, not just me, not just you, but we, all of us collectively. He is a solid voice in our community. And a little bit later on, we're going to be speaking with State Representative Torrey Harris. The legislative session just ended about a week and a half ago, give or take. And I wanted to get his take as a representative of Memphis and Shelby County, how he thinks things went this legislative session, and more importantly, did Memphis and Shelby County benefit in any kind of way at all? I think I know the answer to that, but I'm going to let him talk about that a little bit later on. So there you go. That is our lineup for this evening. I hope that you are going to be with us this evening. I hope you're going to stick around this evening for the next hour or so. Sit back, relax, get comfortable, and check out the conversation that we like to engage in around here. Let me, before I even get into the birthdays, which is coming up here in just a second, I want to shout out Lola. Lovely Lola performed, had a spot at the River Beat over the weekend, and I heard she tore it down. She's extraordinarily talented. Said it was just an amazing time. So very proud of you. Nice job. Good job on that. I really appreciate that. Her being a part of all of this, because if you've never heard her do her thing, you need to check her out. She's really good. So we're really proud of her, and I wanted to shout her out. Now, I want to shout you out if you're celebrating a birthday today, or you had one over the weekend, got one coming up in the next week or so. This is your segment. This is how we do it here on Real Talk Memphis. It's the shout out. But I can't shout you out until I ask Bryn to hit it. All right, we have a few birthdays to celebrate today. I'm sure many of you are already still celebrating. You celebrated the first part of it during the day, and you're going to celebrate the rest of it tonight, right? Happy birthday going out to Doris Stick. Happy birthday, Doris. Janika White is celebrating her birthday today. She is a city councilwoman Anna Catherine Word from MIFA celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday going out to Beverly Rayner, to Tuggle Percetta, and to Stephanie A. Turner. And Lola has somebody she wants to shout out today. Lola.
Happy birthday to my auntie Rhonda James Ford. Her birthday is on Sunday. Happy birthday. I love you.
Happy birthday, Rhonda. Happy birthday to each and every one of you celebrating today. I hope it's been a day filled with fun and laughter. And I hope that all of us here at Real Talk Memphis will be here next year to celebrate your next trip around the sun. Thanks, Brent. So in news and notes today, the Tyree Nichols case, both the prosecution and the defense team have wrapped up their case, and now the jury is being given final instructions, hearing closing arguments from both the prosecution and the defense, and that is going to be continued into tomorrow. So I'm thinking maybe it's only Monday. I'm thinking maybe we'll have a verdict sometime between now and the end of the week. But we will stay tuned and we will see. All right, so for all of you out there who have heard about Real ID but have done nothing about it as of yet, the deadline is Wednesday. This Wednesday, May 7th, is the deadline to get your Real ID. Now, let me just say this to you. Don't panic. I'll get you through it. Okay, if you haven't gotten it yet, and many folks haven't gotten theirs yet, it'll be okay. If you have a passport, if you plan on doing any traveling anytime soon, domestically, you need your passport. So keep that with you until you get your license fixed up there with that little star. Lola, you have? Okay, she ain't got hers yet. Yeah, she got a passport. Brent, you got yours yet? Brent has. He's giving me that. Nah, not quite. Well, I actually got mine. I haven't got my license yet, but I did go through the process. I got an appointment, and I went in, and it took me about maybe 20 minutes, give or take. I was in and I was out. Don't even think about going now, because first of all, you can't get an appointment. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it's just way too, unless you plan on spending 6, 7, 8 hours in line at a DMV office. Lola probably bat her eyes and wear something, and something. Well, you can do that. You can get this anywhere in the state of Tennessee. You can do that. That's one thing. You don't have to do it. If you live here, you don't have to necessarily get it here. But if you live in the state of Tennessee, you can take a nice little leisurely drive. I hear it's packed everywhere though. But again, don't panic. If you don't get it before the 7th, you're good. If you have to do any traveling after that, keep your passport with you, of course, and you should be okay with your ID. But you do have to get your Real ID, okay? And then once the 7th comes and goes, I think the panic will stop, kind of temporarily relax a little bit, and then you may want to try to go in another maybe 2 weeks or so, when things start to ease up just a bit. What do you think? Yeah, that'd be fine. So anyway, that's your one reminder from this show about Real ID. River Beat, as I stated, has concluded, and it was a big success. And once again, congratulations to everybody, including lovely Lola, for being a part of a very successful event. Late this afternoon, we heard that Youth Villages and the family of alleged Jones, the young lady who tragically died, in reference to some situations happening with the Youth Villages, they came to a settlement this afternoon, and there was no violent act or anything that was attributed to Youth Villages in reference to that case, but they did come to a settlement this afternoon. And of course, that takes a look at news and notes. It seems like I wanted to say something else, but that's all right. It may just pop in my head sometime between now and 7 o'clock. Oh, by the way, I did mention last week that an 18-year-old female, LaToriana Lindsay, was charged with first-degree murder in the shooting death of Anthony Smith down at Tom Lee Park a few weeks back. After they had the big food truck festival there, happened on April 13th. She made a court appearance. Her bond has been set at $1 million. Anthony Smith was 17 years of age, and of course, the suspect, LaToriana Lindsay, is only 18 years of age. So that's a look at news and notes on this Monday evening. What do you say? Let's go to a break, and when we come back, let's get into it, shall we? This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from Live Nation, presenting Lake Street Dive with special guest The Dip live at Orpheum Theater on Tuesday, September 16th. Tickets and more information at Ticketmaster.com.
Support for WYXR comes from the Halloran Center, presenting the Memphis Songwriters Series hosted by Mark Egger Stewart. Mark and his musical guests take audiences on a journey behind the music, sharing personal stories and introducing new works. The series continues Thursday, May 8th with Scott Sudbury, Mallory Everett, and Matt Hill. More information at orpheum-memphis.com/HC-presents.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and I am very happy to have my first guest, although it comes after a bit of a tragedy here in our city. Many of us are very aware of what happened when a fire hit the historic Claiborne Temple about a week and a half or so ago, and caused extensive damage to what we have described as a pillar in our community, and especially a pillar and a figure stone in the civil rights movement. The meeting place during the sanitation workers' strike, and back in 1968, where Dr. King and many other leaders strategized on getting the rights that people deserved. Well, anyway, now we're left with what we're left with, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I said it a week or so ago, and I'll say it again. The city's grieving. That's a big loss, and for many people on many different levels. And I'm very pleased to have Anasa Troutman. She is the executive director of the Claiborne Temple Restoration Project. And Anasa is I'm very happy to have you on the show, and I'm very glad you could join me for a few minutes. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I saw you on a few interviews not too long after that fire occurred. And I just kind of wanted to get your thought process, and because you're working so closely with it in the midst of a $6 million renovation project when all of this happened. But what kind of effect does this have, or has this had, not only on you and your organization, but the city as a whole, do you think?
It's been interesting because there's two things happening at one time. There is a lot of grief. One of the things that really, I don't think I will ever forget is watching people drive up to Claiborne on Monday. It's only been a week. It was last Monday that the fire happened. Mm-hmm. And I was out there from maybe 2:30 in the morning to probably 4 or 5 that afternoon. And the number of people that I saw drive up to the building, get out of their car, walk up as far as they could to the police tape line and just wail and cry and hug and fall out. is not an image I'll soon forget. And so like part of what's happening is like a lot of people are experiencing a very, very, very deep grief. Claiborne Temple is one of the few buildings in the city that everybody feels like belongs to them because
Right.
it's been both a Presbyterian church and an AME church and
Right.
a place for organizing and a place for celebrating and the Rotary meetings and all like there's everybody has a relationship with this building. And so there is a Claiborne Temple size hole in a whole bunch of people's hearts, not just here in Memphis, but across the country. But the other thing that's happening at the same time is like there is this resolve and this determination that is happening inside of people that they are saying like, oh, well, this we're not going to let this be the end. Like we are committing to figuring out and making whatever restoration looks like happen. And so it's almost like people's grief is leading them to this determination to be able to be a part of the restoration of the building.
So when you heard, and I believe, and maybe you can confirm that the fire department is in continuing to investigate this. They've not come to
Yeah.
any solid conclusions yet, have they, in reference to
No.
the cause of the fire?
No, and part of the problem is because the building is still not stable. So they're managing like how to be able to do a full investigation and also make sure that our first responders remain safe and are not in danger's way when it comes to falling bricks or stones or things like that. So we've been working to try to stabilize the site so that the investigation can be completed.
So, in reference to the damage that I referred
Mhm.
to earlier, do you see at this particular point, or I'm sure this is an ongoing process and will be for a while, that there
Yeah,
is any level of restoration that could possibly take place in reference to the
absolutely.
damage that happened?
Yeah, I think early Monday morning, I think between our staff and the mayor and Chief Sweat at the fire department, kind of we all made an agreement to do everything that we could for as much of the building to remain standing as possible, right? And so like all due respect and love and gratitude to Mayor Young and Chief Sweat, who really went above and beyond to make sure that we could preserve as much of the building as possible. So if you, I mean, obviously, when it comes to the sanctuary, there's not much of the interior left. There's nothing of the interior left of the sanctuary, but other parts of the building remain. But also those facades, those iconic facades that house the stained glass that were the four walls of the building. We have a lot of that left, and so we are right now. Our goal is to preserve as much as possible and stabilize as much as possible, so that we have options when we can reimagine the restoration. So we have the ability to be able to have some latitude in terms of what's possible with the restoration.
You know, in a world where much of our history is
Yes.
being stripped away, or
Yes.
kind of pushed off to the side, what
Yes.
is it that you would want people to know who really don't know and who really don't
Yeah.
understand the history of Claiborne Temple?
Yeah.
What should they know about this storied facility building?
Yeah. So I think Claiborne Temple, before it burned, was over 130 years old. So there's literally over a century's worth of history in the building. But the story that people know the most is that it was the organizing headquarters for the sanitation worker strike of 1968. And
Right.
there are many stories in that story that I think are important, but when you talk about like the general public and the thing and the reason why other folks think that is important is because the sanitation worker strike was the last work that King did before he was assassinated. He was in Memphis to be able to support the sanitation worker strike, which was housed in that building. And so for me, the reason why that's so significant is because King saw the future of his movement in Memphis because he was wrestling with this idea of like going from just talking about race to actually talking about a multiracial movement against poverty and really focusing on what it looked like for us to transform the economics of our country. And when he heard about the sanitation workers strike, he thought this is what I've been talking about, and this right here, if I can go and help that be successful, then I have something I can show around the country about what I'm trying to say. And so the fact that the sanitation workers and Reverend Lawson and Cornelia Crenshaw and so many others here in the city were created such a sophisticated conversation with the strike, right? They were talking about race, yes, but they were also talking about class and human dignity and their safety, right? And that was what Martin Luther King thought the future was, right here in Memphis. And for me, the reason why the building became so important to me is because, like, I think that potential and that pointing toward the future and those lessons for the rest of the nation are still here in Memphis. And those stories were living in that building, and to me, that's why we have to keep going, because the telling of that story is still so important because of where we are in this moment.
Yeah, I was and just listening to what you said. I mean, this sounds like, I mean, you're really saying that this is history, and it's still living history today. Even though we understand what it was about, and to understand that those iconic "I am a man" signs were put together in Mason. I mean, in Claiborne Temple as well.
Claiborne Temple, right in the basement. Right in the basement. I know elders now who I'm friends with who tell me stories about them being in the basement making those "I'm a man" signs, those original "I'm a man" signs, right?
Yeah.
And I think the thing about history that is so powerful is not just looking back, but history actually gives us everything that we need to be able to look forward towards the future. And if we're not thinking about our history as teachers for the future, then I think that we're not contextualizing our history properly.
What do you think that we, as a society, not just a city, not just a state, but a society, what have we, or what should we have learned in reference to the history of this particular structure and that time in American history?
Yeah, I've been thinking about Reverend Lawson a lot this week, because of the time that I was able to spend with him, and the thing that he said to me that I've been meditating on so much is when he looked me in my face and he said, "I want people to stop saying that we were building a civil rights movement, because that's not what we were working to do. What we were working to do was to build God's kingdom on earth." And I think that what we have forgotten is that what King and Cornelia Crenshaw and Ida B. Wells and all the people who we hold so dear, what they wanted to do was to build beloved community. They wanted for all human beings to experience safety, joy, love, and abundance, and to have a good life. And I think that we have lost sight of the fact that, like, that's what everybody wants. All of us still today, we think about Memphis and we think about, the difficulties that Memphis is having or has had. And we are talking about removing the barriers from people having a good life, to be able to feel safe, to be able to feel like their kids are going to have what they need, to be able to feel like we can connect with each other as human beings, right? To know that our history and our stories are going to be honored, and that we can be in spaces where we actually can look at ourselves and look at each other and know that we are good, and know that we are right, and know that we have a right to life, right? And I want to remind people that for me is what Claiborne is about. It is about the quest for a good life, the quest for us to have no barriers between us and our future. That is what this work is about for me. I think that's what I learned from Reverend Lawson. Like, yep, all that, yes, but what we really desire is community. That's the answer.
Community, yeah, that is the answer. Before you go, what can all of us as a community, as a city, who understands what that Claiborne Temple meant to so many, what can we do in reference to this to support whatever comes next?
Yeah, so I think I have an easy answer and I have a harder answer. I think the easy answer is, like, we're obviously fundraising mode, constantly in fundraising mode. So if folks want to support the restoration efforts, they can go to our website, claiborne.org, and go to the donate page and Like folks have given 5, 10, 15, 25, 250, 1,000, like whatever you can give. But what I really, really, really want is, is that my fear this week, because Memphis is a city that has had a lot of grief, and we have had a lot of sorrow here. And what I want is for this not to become another thing that we have to hold in terms of that emotion, that sorrowful emotion. And so what I really want is for Memphians to be able to come together and find out what it requires for us to heal from this. And we've been thinking at our organization about the ways that we can bring people together to have this conversation, to think about, like, how do we take this moment and transform it from a thing of pain to a thing that helps us reimagine not just Claiborne, but reimagine Memphis.
Right.
And so I would love people just to like pay attention to our socials, to be on our mailing list, and to gather with us when we call, and to gather with each other and start to have the conversations about what is it gonna take for Memphis to become a healed city, for Memphians to be healed people, and for us to be taking care of each other in the way that I think the sanitation workers were calling us into. And so, yes, we would happy to take your donations, happy to be able to take those dollars and levers in for the future of the building. But what I'm really concerned about is the future of us, the future of the people who live here, the future of the people whose ancestors hold those stories. So many people I met this week who was like, my daddy, my granddaddy, sanitation workers, right? So many. And those folks whose family made that building as significant and iconic as it is deserve to be able to feel whole, and to be able to feel well, and to feel healed, and to have those stories be able to help them move forward into the future in a meaningful and beautiful way.
Anasa Troutman, ladies and gentlemen, Executive Director of Claiborne Temple Restoration Project. Anasa, it's great talking with you this evening. I'm glad you made time to be with us and our audience tonight.
Always.
And God bless you on your pursuit of this in the future. We will wait and watch and see. And I believe what you believe. We need to get our voice, and we need to get together. We need to be together as a community, and we need to stop all the other stuff.
The answer to every issue in the history of humanity is community. There is no thing that can stop us if we are together. It's just, we have to do it.
Community.
We have to do it.
Community. Thank you so much. Well, God bless you. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. God bless you too.
You take
care.
Worries.
All right. Anytime.
All right. Bye-bye. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about community at the end of the day. It really is. And we thank Anasa for coming on the show tonight and really talking with us about all of this. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will continue on this edition of Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page, and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support from WYXR comes from Sunset Jazz at Court Square, a free, family-friendly concert series presented by Just Jazzin', downtown Memphis and City of Memphis. Held every second Sunday from May through October, this annual event brings the smooth sounds of Memphis jazz to the heart of downtown at 62 North Main Street. Each show spotlights local talent in a wide range of styles, from straight ahead to swing. More information can be found at sunsetjazzmemphis.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk. with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. We, many of us, are very well aware of what is going on in our cities and in our communities today. And it seems as if there's a bit of a dark cloud over the city with some of the incidents and some of the things that are happening. Well, I wanted to invite a young man who on this show who has devoted his time and his energy to helping to improve the station of so many people, especially our young folks out here in this community. He's very well thought of. He's very well known, and he's not afraid to use his voice. That's why I like having him on this show. Please welcome to the show, Durell Cowan. He is the founder and the executive director of HEAL 901, and Durell is coming to us from Washington, D.C., which makes this even more special. Thank you, my friend. It's good to see you. How are you tonight?
It's a pleasure to be on the line with you tonight, Chip. I respect you, the platform, man. Shout out to the citizens of Memphis. I know that we have had some dark days recently. And I'm just here and pleased to be in this space to share a conversation with you.
Well, thank you for that, as always. It really, when we get to points like this, and we've seen, an increase in some of the activity, the negative activity in and around our communities. But what troubles me the most is the fact that so many of these incidents are being caused, not only being caused by, but they're victims of, and they're all young people. I mean, there's so many young people under the age of 18 who are becoming victims as well as suspects in some of these crimes, Durell. And I just don't, and I know you, and I know your passion for all of this. And I just kind of wanted to get your take on what you're seeing and what we have seen, especially in the last month here in our city.
So I got a twofold answer for that. Am I aware of what's going on? Am I understanding the severe state that we're in? Am I understanding the pressure and the pain of the citizens of Memphis that are affected by this, that have nothing to do with it? Am I feeling the pain of the parents and guardians who are losing their babies to gun violence in the city of Memphis? I'm not oblivious. I feel it all. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say what I can say that is going on. What I can say is you see the current administration, Mayor Young and his team, they're putting a lot of people in place. And I know to the citizens, what does these people mean? Well, when you have a problem that's this big, we have to have systems in place to be able to monitor the progression that we're making when it comes to making progress in the space. So having Director Darren Goods now being in the office, the special right next to the mayor, keeping him updated. We got the joint office that is up. Now, I want people to understand this. The joint office still has to wait until a funding cycle to have funding to be able to fund some of the work that they see. So understanding there's systems in place that the county and the city have both invested in. But now we're into budget season. And this is the most crucial time because it's about how much are we going to put in the budget towards this work. And I love the work that I do. I love the impact that we're making. I love being able to help families. I had a dad just reach out to me recently about his son because he needed some help. So I don't want the montage to be this only single moms and things. No. It's some dual family homes where dad is heavily involved and they're like, no. We need some help with our baby. So just understanding that it's a long road ahead. And honestly, it's going to take resources. And I know people tired of hearing about money, but I'm being honest. For me to consistently run around the country to find funding, to be able to do the work that I do, that's a lot of pressure on me, understanding that there's a great need in the city. But we got some dollars in the city of Memphis that can aid towards this work. So I'm begging philanthropy, the churches and businesses to support these type of efforts. As of recently, I'm in DC right now because 2 weeks ago on Tuesday, I was an organization that lost $1.4 million in this work that I was doing in Memphis during the contract. So there's things that's happening federally that's having an effect. That's what we're seeing, a decrease in numbers from last year because of the work that my brothers at Block Squad, my brothers and sisters at Memphis Allies, we're all working diligently. But when we see funding sliced federally, now we're scrambling. How do we continue to maintain the efforts of the decrease that we saw last year.
Yeah, I think in hearing that, and that's a very honest assessment of things. I mean, obviously it takes funding to be able to put on programs and organizations like yours and ones that you just mentioned as well. But we're seeing this this trickle down effect from the highest levels of federal government, cutting and slashing and doing everything else. As you said, you're out there trying to get funding for these organizations. People really need to understand that this is kind of a multi-level situation that we're talking about here. And in order for you to be able to fund some of the programs that you do to help so many young people out around here, you need that funding, and you really need our city to sort of take a step back, especially with the month we just had in April. We need to really take a step back and look at the big picture. Not run from the big picture, but look at the big picture and say to ourselves, as you just said, here in our city, we need to maybe redirect our resources in a way that will be more of a benefit rather than a hindrance. Am I right about that?
Most definitely. So as we're gearing up these spaces in city government and county government to be able to fund this work on a continual basis, I want to be clear, there's continual funding moving forward. But we have to understand we're in a situation where we got to stop the bleeding in Memphis right now. And with the dire situation in Memphis, just want to share some figures. And I know that your audience is very well educated and well diverse group. So I just want to be clear, the national number that they're saying that should be invested in this type of work in Memphis, strictly for intervention on the ground level, is $15 million.
Wow.
But with that's the national dollar. But with the epidemic that we're experiencing in Memphis, it's going to take a surplus of another $10 million on top of that to be able to hit really, really hard to get the results that we need to be able to move forward. And I'm looking forward to continuing these conversations with these new leaders that are very serious about this work. Mayor Young, even Mayor Harris, even though he's at the end of his term, he's very serious about the public safety issue that's going on. So understand that we do have their support. It's just making sure that the individuals in the city leadership outside of the mayor, the individuals at the county commission and city council, as well as philanthropy, understand that we are a conjunction or groups of individuals that are making great impact when it comes to the violent crime in Memphis. We have to sustain it. And it shouldn't be on the organization so much, on that sustainability.
You used the term a minute ago that we're in a dire situation here. We're losing a generation, man. I mean, every time I get a news flash about another tragic event that is happening, and we're losing young folks, and it just hurts my heart, and I know it hurts yours too. As a community, are we engaged enough? Now, that may be one of those questions that people are, well, what do you mean? But I mean, again, a lot of us like to push blame off and kind of move it around to other circles. So I'm going to ask you, as somebody who's not afraid to tell the truth, are we as a community engaged enough and understand enough about what is really happening in these streets?
There's several things. Somebody know who these people are. Listen, these people did not spawn out of nowhere, end up on the streets of Memphis creating crime. I don't care if they got a shiesty on or whatever. Your son walk. Your nephew walk. The posture of your family members when you see them. The question is, are we turning blind eyes to situations that we should be intervening in? And there's another program that Heal None of what we're looking forward to bringing out. And it's called the Green Dot Active Bystander Program, where we're actually empowering individuals to do something besides pick up a camera when you see something going on, and be able to give you some tips on something you can do to stop someone else from being a victim of a crime while also keeping yourself safe. So we're looking at rolling out that program, and we're working diligently. Once again, I don't want Memphis to feel like they are the black spot on the map of the United States of America.
No, yeah.
When I'm sitting in these spaces such as DC, there's individuals from LA, Detroit, New Orleans, Chicago, Fresno, Richmond, Oakland, Baltimore, DC. Hey, it's a convening of people all over the nation right now, fighting to get these funding back in their communities because they're experiencing the same thing. We saw an $811 million cut 2 weeks ago to this work. That means there was something that was going on, a bipartisan Safer Community Act that both sides of the aisle voted on, but we just seen it drastically removed in a way that this administration is moving. So we understand that other entities have had the ability of getting those funds back, but it is a fight. And this is a fight I can't do alone. So I'm glad to have this national support, understanding the work that we're trying to do in Memphis, having the support of my brothers and sister organizations in Memphis, having the ability to be up here this week. I'll be up here all week fighting for the citizens of Memphis, talking to congressional leaders, seeing if there's a way that we can advocate to get these dollars back in our community.
Before I let you go, I just want to ask you. You know, I have these conversations quite a bit on this radio show and with other people. It seems as if there is a void with us in terms of loving one another as we should, respecting one another as we should. It seems like there's a big void when it comes to that. How do we get back to loving each other, for who we are as people? How do we get into our children's head that, you know what, we love you and we're not going to give up on you ever? But I mean, how do we impart that, to try to at least instill some sense of something within ourselves?
The best thing I can say, you just answered it. When people talk about our communities and talk about underserved, I don't like that term. I tell them they underloved. And understanding that there is not a religious sector on planet Earth that doesn't understand that God, Allah, whomever you identify him, he or she as, that entity is an entity of love. And loving each other as one would want to be treating others the way we want to be treated is something that is a golden rule in life, whether you're an atheist or a Christian, it don't matter. You want to treat people right. It's just so happened that in our communities, we just don't love each other. I start every session that I do with our young people, saying I love you. And I leave that session. They can't leave the session without looking at each other dead in the eyes saying I love you. And the reason I do that is because so many young people haven't heard from other people that they love them. Our young men, it's taboo for them to hear from another man, I love you. Men, are we loving on young men in our community? That young brother lost just like you was. Yeah. Do you remember where you come from?
Yeah.
And so I don't want us to get so self-righteous that we forget that somebody saved us from the spaces that we were lost in.
Yeah.
And you got a duty to save somebody else. I do this because it was a village of people who fought to save Durell. So I got to fight that hard. And until the village comes and stands with us and with me, I'm going to fight like a village by myself.
Durell Cowan, ladies and gentlemen, the founder and executive director of HEAL 901 in Washington, D.C., fighting for funds to try to save our society and our city. Durell, thank you, my friend, for coming on the show, and thank you for imparting the truth. I really appreciate you, really do.
Chip, it's always a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much. Y'all be safe, and I can't wait to get back to the city with some good news and keep changing lives, and saving lives.
Absolutely, my friend. Safe travels, and I hope everything works well for you up there. Really do.
Thank you, brother. Godspeed.
You too. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We have to realize and we have to understand we can't devoid ourselves of what is happening out here. We can't act as if, well, that's what's happening over there, but it's not affecting me, so I'm not bothered by it. Well, that's absolutely 100% not true. And I thank Durell for the work that he does on a daily basis, and I also thank him for all the lives that he has saved in our community. Now, let's take one quick final break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk legislative politics with State Representative Torrey Harris. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from Arts Memphis, who has invested $94 million into our local arts community to teach, uplift, unite, and engage Memphians of all ages and zip codes.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. Chip with you, along with my next guest. He just completed the 2025 legislative session up in Nashville, and he's kind enough to join me now. I really wanted to kind of get a bird's eye view of what happened up there from someone who is in the room. Please welcome to the show State Representative Torrey Harris. And Torrey, it's great to see you, and thanks for coming on the show tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chip. Thank you so much for having me, and glad I was able to make it this week. So let's run it. Let's see what we can talk about.
Absolutely that. Well, first things first, the session just ended, and I kind of wanted to get your take, your overall take of the legislative session this year, and if anything at all was of a benefit to Memphis and Shelby County, which is the area, of course, you represent. But what were your impressions of the session just ended?
Yeah, we have a $60 billion budget, and that is what our goal is, to make sure that we balance up this large budget. We've doubled the budget since my colleagues on the Republican side have taken over, and so for us to have $60 billion as a budget, you would think that a lot of the items that were inside that budget actually went to really better people, improve homes, improve our infrastructure, take care of our children, but it didn't. We ended up starting off the session basically wrong by going into a special session, specifically about vouchers, which if you know, most in the past of the vouchers had affected Shelby County, Knox County, Davidson County heavily. And then now at this point, since we have went from the special session, it now will affect the entire state. And so that was something that was a huge waste of dollars. The voucher scam is going to be something that ultimately we're going to be paying for years and years down the line. So to see that as the beginning of our session, leading into things like immigration, where we battled in Education Committee over and over again, the idea that we should keep children who are considered immigrants from being able to get a public education that our Constitution provides and allows for them to be able to get. And so that was something that we had to work hard to defeat on. I sat and watched as we tried to create what I would consider the back on Black DEI bill. That was something that one of our newer legislators pushed forward to try to make sure that we rolled back DEI, not knowing the impact and effect that it's going to ultimately make on a lot of individuals. Those are just some of the top level things that went on this session, of course. But we had so much that happened. When you think about the wins, you mentioned some wins, and we did get a few. We got money for University of Memphis. We got money for downtown. We got money for some crime issues. We got some money for some museums. We got money for certain things, but there was a lot of money that we got cut on. I think there was money that we tried to redirect, about $77 million that we tried to reallocate from the voucher scam to be able to try to cover the summer food program, which got cut. And so that feeds children throughout the summer who are out of school. And we were unsuccessful in getting that piece of it. We were denied our money for the Memphis Crime Lab funding. We got our money for More Tech. It's $5 million in the governor's budget, and then my colleagues came in and decided they were going to cut that too. We saw a lot of cuts.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, when I listen to you kind of run all that down, and and this is a question that I have asked repeatedly of some of your fellow Democratic colleagues, and I'll ask you the same question. There seems to me to be some sort of an issue, if you will, with things that are happening here in Memphis and Shelby County. For example, you mentioned one of the locally they wanted to put a crime initiative on the ballot. The city council did, and were threatened with withholding state income tax if they did not if they dare put that on that referendum on the ballot. Well, it went to court, and Memphis won that round. But things like that, and I mean, do you see that there is, or does there seem to be? I'll just say it like that. Some sort of an issue as pertains to Memphis and Shelby County, because I promise you, it just seems like every time we bring something before the legislature, they don't seem to have a positive attitude about it.
yeah, Chip. So I'll be honest. It's very hard when I go out of state to other places and other cities for me to say that I live in Memphis, Tennessee. I typically say Memphis, United States, because they treat us as though we are our own individual area in a lot of ways, when we're actually one of the largest tax bases for the state. So, you would think that we would get a lot more resources and things that we would like to see. But I was also told that part of the reason why we got a lot of our funding cut out of the budget this year, that some of the money that actually the governor put in for us got cut. And the reason being, it was because some people disagreed with our city council and their decisions. And so that was some of the reasons being, but people come up with all types of reasons for why they want to cut Memphis. It's Black people, it's urban area. Of course, they're going to try to cut it. So that's just something we just learn how to work with and deal with throughout time. But at some point, we've got to get up and figure out how to change that, because the more we get cut, the more we get attacked, the more things happen to Shelby County. And it's because our colleagues in areas like East Tennessee, the more urban, rural areas, they don't understand Memphis. And so they try their absolute best to do opposite of what it is that we ask for in our own area.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, while I have a couple of minutes left here, about the Memphis and Shelby County schools situation. Two takeover bills, one on the Senate side by Brent Taylor, the other on the House side by Mark White. Turned out at the end of the road, they couldn't come together on a consensus of any of that. What's your take on that?
Yeah. So of course, glad that it is on hold for right now. What I don't want people to believe or think that is that the bill is dead. The bill is dead. I've heard that a few different times, right, and that is not the case. The bill is not dead. What happened is they couldn't come to a consensus on which way to go. Rather to give the power to us at the state or give the power to the local county commission. So instead, they just placed it on hold, and it's sitting in the legislature. So instead of having to go all the way back and start all over in a committee, they've already gotten it all the way through. So basically what they've come up with at this point is the idea that if the county commission can work with the school district to create their own board of some sort, to be able to be a part of the process when it comes to reviewing finances, reviewing the buildings and the needs of the school. Then if we can actually do the stuff that they are asking for ourselves locally, then when we come back in January, they won't even move the bill forward. However, if we get back to January and there's no movement at all between now and January, then I would expect that they would just go ahead and make a decision on which version of the bill they're actually going to support. The bill is not dead. It's just sitting there, and we're glad about that. But we've got to make sure that now that session is over, I can, instead of fighting against the bill, now I can say to our people, we've got to make some good decisions, and we've got to hold ourselves accountable to make sure that we're giving our kids the best that we can. And so I think if right now it's on hold. So that's the good part, but it can always come back in January if we don't meet some kind of criteria that they feel like we should meet.
So it's all about us, and that's a very thank you for that. That's a very honest assessment. Listen, State Representative Torrey Harris, thank you, man, for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah,
really appreciate hearing you. I'm going to bring you back, especially as we get down into the legislative session, and thank you for giving us an overview. A lot of us are not up there. A lot of us don't see what you see. So I really appreciate your insight and your thoughts this evening. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chip.
Take care, man. Thank you. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A view from inside the walls. And that wraps up this edition of Real Talk Memphis as Brent plays us out. And really appreciate you being a part of the broadcast as always. Thanks for all my guests for coming in tonight and talking with us. And don't touch that dial, ladies and gentlemen, because speaking of Brent, he's at the mic here in about a minute or two for his show, Event Horizon. He brings it, man. I'm telling you, he's gonna be a big star around this joint. You guys, I know you guys listen to the show, and you hear me propping him. My daughter said, "Dad, I need to hear Brent's show. You prop him up all the time." I'm like, "Yes, I do. That's my guy." Anyway, thank you, Memphis, for being a part of what we try to do here each and every Monday evening. Really appreciate you. If you like what we do, continue to support us, and more importantly, tell folks about Real Talk Memphis. It's the place to be Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. For all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, for lovely Lola, for Brent, and like I said, he'll be up in just a minute with Event Horizon, and yours truly, Chip. Have a wonderful week. Please be safe. Please be careful out there. Watch out for yourself and watch out for other folks. And until next time, we are out. Peace.